hair looking so blonde right now? Welcome back, besties. In this video, we are doing a commonly seen challenge on BookTube right now, which is reading books until I can get a 5-star read. Now, I am a very picky reader. The reason for me wanting to do this challenge is because my ratings for books that I've read recently have looked like this.
A clown. That's clown shit.
So not great, right? I have actually already read the books that I'll be reading in this vlog. I'm just coming back now to record the intro. The thing about me as a reader is that I have no idea what books that I'm going to like. And because I'm such a picky bitch with ratings, I'm not going to challenge myself to read a book by an author I've never read from before or to read a genre that I don't normally lean for. I am just going to go into this picking books that I feel genuinely I might be giving 5 stars. So I will not delay you any further and let's get into the video. Guys, I have finished That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon. And originally I was gonna give this 3 stars, but after reflecting on it for 24 hours, it's more like a 2-star read. Miss Kimberly Lemming really hit the nail right on the head when she named it That Time I Got Drunk and Saved the Demon, because that's basically what this book is. So we're following our main character, Cinnamon, and she got drunk and saved a demon, basically. We find out that there is this witch who is oppressing the demons, and she's like convinced all the humans that demons are bad and they need to be oppressed, and she's like getting her magic through that way. But once our main character Cinnamon saves the demon, he's like, no, it's actually the other way around. She's the bad guy and we're being oppressed. And so they team up to take down this witch. And what they have to do is they have to destroy this like cup or this chalice, and there's 4 of them. So they go on this adventure to destroy all 4 of the cups. And right off the bat, Miss Cinnamon takes a look at our demon. I think his name is Fallon. And she's like, oh, he's so hot, he's so sexy. But like he's doing the same thing to her. So there is quite a bit of smut in this book. But the reason why I'm giving it 2 stars is because I listened to the audiobook, and I have to say the audiobook is not the way to go. Because I don't know, there was something about the narrator where when she was narrating the book, it just like wasn't hitting for me. This was just a little too silly goofy, and like I love me some silly goofy. You see Butcher and Blackbird over there? Love that book. Also, The Cool Prince was chaotic and also a little bit silly goofy, and I really like that one. So I have no problems with silly goofy. It's just the fact that this one went a little bit too hard on that end, and there was just something about the audiobook that just wasn't landing. And I didn't feel that relationship between Cinnamon and Fallon. It felt kind of forced and too insta-lovey. These people just didn't make sense why they liked each other, and it's gonna have to be a 2-star for me. If you're gonna read this book, I'm gonna have to say that the audiobook is not the way to go. You should physically read it, and I think that you can because this is quite short. Because this video is not going the way that I want it to go, I decided to bring out a heavy hitter. And that would be Master of Crows. I read Entreat Me a little while ago, and it was a 4-star book. What I really like about Grace Raven is that she writes romantasy in a way where she doesn't forget about the fantasy element. I'm about 30 pages into this one already, so really not that far into it, and I'm liking it. What I've gathered is that there's a guy, he's the Master of Crows, and he's like a mage or a wizard type character, but he's very like feared in his area. What's this guy's name? It's Silhara. And then we have our female main character. Her name is Martise. What I'm learning is that Martise is a apprentice, like she's got the gift or like magic in her, but she's also a spy, I think. Don't quote me on this. It's early days. I'm only 30 pages in. And she's been kind of traded or given to Silhara for 4 months. And I don't really understand why, but I think that Silhara has a deal with like the conclave and like the bishop people over there. Much as I know, but I'm liking this one so far. I'm liking this one way more than That Time I Got Drunk and Saved the Demon. This I'm going to unhaul, but I'm gonna read this, and I hope that this is just as good as Entreat Me. Okay guys, I am planning on making a cheesecake. I am not a food Instagrammer, vlogger, YouTuber, so if this comes out looking rough, it's just the way that it's gonna be. I am gonna make a cheesecake. Actually, it's a burnt Basque cheesecake. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I saw it on Instagram and I was like, I want that. I gotta make that. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna preheat the oven. Okay, got the oven preheated to 400 degrees. We're gonna start with 4 8-ounce packets of cream cheese, and we're gonna beat that with sugar. If I look like I'm fumbling around to find things, it's because I am. I don't know where everything is in this kitchen. Why did I just open up that cream cheese packet in such a hellish way? Okay, these are pretty much at room temperature. I think I took these out of the fridge at like 7. Why is this so fucking hard to open? And now we're just gonna beat the cream cheese and the sugar together until it comes to a creamy consistency. Okay, now you can tell that it is a nice creamy consistency. So now we're gonna add 6 eggs and beat this. I don't really know what the purpose of adding 1 egg at a time does. So I'm gonna add more than that at a time. Don't come for me if you're a food critic. Okay, I went ahead and added 2 cups of heavy whipping cream into this. Then I'm gonna give a couple cracks of salt in here. The recipe also calls for 1/3 cup of flour, so let's add that in there. And then we're gonna give it one last mix before I can put it in a pan and then stick it in the oven. All right, and into the oven she goes. I hope this turns out good, otherwise all I did was make a mess. Okay friends, I am halfway through this book and I have to say I'm really liking it so far. The last time I gave you an update I was only 30 pages in. I didn't have that much of the plot like wrapped around my brain, but now that I do, I'm gonna give you a little bit more of an in-depth of what's going on with the plot. So we have our Master of Crows. His name is Sahara, and apparently he is a mage with like crazy strong magic, and that threatens this like covenant of like, I want to call them bishops. And they kind of like watch through all the people who have the ability or the gift of magic. There's this prophecy that a mage who is really strong is going to be like the avatar. Sahara has this deal with the covenant that they send an apprentice to him so that he can teach them like magic and how to use their gift. So at the very beginning of the book, they send Martise, who has the gift, but her gift hasn't like presented itself. Think of it as just like how the X-Men work, where they need to go through something like really traumatic in order for the gift to trigger. And so Sahara is upset that he was like, oh, the Covenant sent me like an invalid, someone who doesn't have the ability or the gift, but he just like has to deal with it. So he puts Martise to do like physical labor. Like his property is on a land of a lot of like orange trees, so they like do a lot of harvesting of the orange trees and like other plants they farm in that area, and that's pretty much like how he makes his money. So what's making me really sad about this book is Martise, like she has been described as like just a very plain forgettable person, and that makes me really sad because it's like hurting her feelings. She's like, oh, I know I'm pretty plain, like I'm forgettable, nobody notices me. He's kind of treating her like as an afterthought, but there have been moments that he's like, oh, you know, like he likes her voice. He thinks she's like very quick-witted. So he's like starting to warm up to her in a way. But we've reached the point in the book where her gift has presented itself. The other part of this book is there's someone called Corruption. So this is a god that is haunting Sahara. I think Corruption wants something from him, either to like bond with him and like use his magic that would then like make him stronger. But Sahara is just like, no, I don't want to do anything with Corruption. So like he knows how to deal with it. But once Martise's gift has presented itself, Corruption starts to kind of come after her. Martise and Sahara's bond starts to become stronger. You can tell that they're starting to develop feelings for each other now that her gift has presented itself. I mean, I'm really liking the story so far. It's sitting at a 4 stars for me right now. It's not a 5 stars because the only thing that is getting me about this book is like, he was kind of like rude to her before her gift presented itself, and like now the gift is like present, he has started to like feel attracted to her. So I don't know if it's just like the magic is bringing them together or if they actually truly do like each other without magic being present or involved at all. I'll probably finish it today. Update on Master of Crows. I have finished it and I'm gonna give it 3 stars. I didn't like this as much as I liked Entreat Me, and I think that this book is less romantic than Entreat Me. I think the romance gets really lost in the fantasy elements of this book because there is an overarching fantasy plot that they're trying to solve, and it feels like the romance was kind of shoehorned in there. When Martise and Sahara first met, he's like very indifferent towards her, and he like doesn't really pay attention to her or like really care for her. And it wasn't until her magic Frederick had presented itself, was he like, oh, I think I might like her or be into her? She very much felt like an afterthought to him until something interesting happened to her. And then I also don't really enjoy Martise as a character because I feel like she lacked agency. What I liked about the main character, Lou, in Entreat Me is that she was very secure in who she was. She was also older and she knew what she wanted out of her life and what she wanted for her sister. And I just feel like Martise was just like a very insecure person. And like I did feel bad for her, but at the same time, it's like, honey, you gotta put on your big girl pants. The sex scenes were spicy and I did enjoy that. It's just I feel like the plot was a little bit convoluted and I couldn't follow the plot all the way through. There was like this plot line between this guy and the corruption, this god. I feel like Sahara was able to like come to the conclusion about like how to solve the problem, where I was like, we the audience, the readers, couldn't really follow along with his thoughts. And then at the end of the book, the thing that made Martise special was like she gave it away. The more I'm thinking about it, I'm like, is this a 2-star book? But I'm gonna give it a 3-star for right now. Because I did like the relationship between Martise and Sahara, like once they got together and once he like came around to actually like paying her any kind of attention. And I did like the fantasy element of it. I just wish I had known before going into it that this was not as romantic as Entreat Me. So I guess that's my warning for this. Is if you want to pick this up, like I do recommend it, know that the romance is not at the forefront of the story. So unfortunately, I was really hinging all of my hopes on this being a 5-star book. I did enjoy it, but it was not a 5-star book. So I'm just about to bring out the heavy hitter and kind of just like end this video. I decided to pick up the 5th book in the Veronica Speedwell series, which is, I think this is A Murderous Relation. This is probably going to be a strong 5-star for me.
Honey, you've got a big storm coming.
I've given every single one of the books 5 stars up until this point. I started reading it last night. I'm only a chapter in. The first chapter ended on quite a huge cliffhanger, so I'm excited to read this. And this probably, hopefully, will be my 5-star book that will end this vlog because I'm starting to realize that this challenge is not for me. But anyway, let's get to this book and I'll check in with you guys. Oh, wait, actually, I realized that I left you guys hanging with the whole cheesecake thing. So let's go to the kitchen and look at that. It's been a couple days now since I made that cheesecake. So I made 2 of this size and then 1 of this size, and we've already eaten one of them. And I think my recommendations, like if you were gonna make the burnt Basque cheesecake, is to really let the top get burnt. I mean, it still tastes good regardless or not if it's burnt, but I think I would have let it cooked a little bit longer, and it is fully cooked all the way through. I'm gonna take a little tiny slice and I'm gonna go enjoy my cheesecake while I read. I am more than halfway through A Murderous Relation. I probably have like 100 pages left of this book to read. I had a lot going on yesterday and I just read this book. This is the 5th book in the Veronica Speedwell series. And we're following Veronica, who is a lepidopterist, so a butterfly scientist. And we're following Stoker, who is her partner. He's kind of like a jack of all trades. But right now, his occupation is a taxidermist. And they are unwitting participants in solving murder mysteries. In the first book of the series, ends in a way that there was an unresolved plot line that has decided to come back and rear its ugly head in this book. And I'm finding to not enjoy this book as much as the previous one.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just keep.
I mean, the 4th book in the series, A Dangerous Collaboration, I don't know how you could possibly top that one for me, because what happened towards the end of that book was just chef's kiss. I loved it so much. And I thought that now this is the 5th book, it would progress their relationship further than what happened in the 4th book. I mean, the 4th book did a lot for this Veronica and Stoker's relationship. So I thought that this book is, we're going to finally see them get to Pound Town. But I have 100 pages left to read and we are not quite there yet, and we are still trying to solve this mystery. Right now, I feel like this is probably sitting at a 4 stars for me because there are not as much cute moments in this one as within the previous book. That's what's kind of bringing me down. We're really gonna have to see what's happening in the last 100 pages and maybe that'll bring it to a 5 star for me. I think Miss Deanna Rayborn had a rare misfire with this book. I don't know why we had to bring back what happened in the first book here into the 5th book, but I guess we'll resolve that plot line and then we could move on from that. So we'll see. I'll check up with you guys once I am done with this book. Okay guys, here to give you my thoughts on A Murderous Relation. This is going to be a 4-star book. I know, shocking, because every book up until this point I have given 5 stars. So in this story, we're kind of loosely following the Jack the Ripper case. These guys are not investigating it. Veronica and Stoker have a different mystery that's presented to them at the very beginning of this book that they did not want to investigate, but then kind of accidentally fell into doing that. And then for some reason, Veronica and Stoker were having just like miscommunication issues, and not even miscommunication issues, like they just like wouldn't talk about it. That was also very frustrating because the thing about Veronica is that she's very blunt. And so she was just kind of like keeping her feelings to herself from Stoker, and I didn't enjoy that. But the last 10 pages of this book was so good that I almost gave it a 5-star rating. That's how good those last 10 pages were. But if I really sat down and I thought about it, I'm like, no, it's more like of a 4-star. It would have been a 3-star had the last 10 pages not been that good. So I do want to say I still recommend the series. I still love the series. This book just wasn't a 5-star hit for me. But unfortunately for me, I have to keep reading because I have not found a 5-star book for me. I don't know why I decided to do the challenge because I am a picky fucking bitch and we all know that. I probably will not be doing this challenge again. So we're moving on to the next. I don't know what I'm going to read, but I will update you guys once I figure out what I will be reading. I was gonna wait until the morning to give you an update on Happy Place, but I have reached a point of no return. This book is making me so angry right now. I feel like I was gaslighting myself into liking this book because it's the first Emily Henry book that I've read in a while. There was parts of the book that I was liking because the friends are on this annual vacation to this cottage, right? And they've been friends for a while and it's a friend's vacation. And one of the friends, Sabrina, is like surprising everybody with saying that, okay, her and Parth are engaged and we want to get married this week because it's our last time here at the cottage because my dad's selling it. Okay, cool, fine, whatever. I can get down with that. I go on friends vacation all the time. In fact, I'm planning on going on a friends vacation in about a month. What I am having a problem with is the relationship with Harriet and Wynn. I just want them to break up. These two people should not be together. These two people cannot communicate to save their lives. Like I said, for the first 40%, I was liking it because not a lot of backstory as to why they are on the rocks couple was revealed. And then it was, and then I was like, why are you so stupid? I'm going to talk some spoilers into this because this book is quite honestly making me mad. I'm mad about it. And I spent money on this book because what we find out is that Harriet is studying to be a doctor. So she's at her residency someplace in California. Then Wynn is originally from Montana, I believe. And his dad passed away and his mom gets diagnosed with Parkinson's. So obviously he has to go live with his mom and help take care of her. And he is like making furniture while he's back in Montana helping his mom. So Harriet and Wynn are long distance. And that distance is creating some issues in their relationship. Honestly, I feel like these are two people who are incapable of communicating. And I'm very much the opposite. When a decision needs to be made, a decision needs to be made and I will be making it. They've apparently been engaged for almost 10 years. Like why? I don't understand why they're still waiting to get married. Like I don't get it. His like dad passing away and being so far from his mom is like making him depressed. I feel like she is incapable of saying, hey honey, how about we go get you some therapy and like guiding him in that situation. So that's very frustrating to me. And then like we're flashing forward between the past and the current present because in the past we're getting to know them as a couple and then in the future we're seeing them as a relationship on the rocks. But what really just triggered me right now is that this whole book, the two of them are pretending to still be in a relationship because obviously they're on this friends vacation and they don't want to tell their friends that they're broken up because that'll ruin the vacation and then that'll ruin one of their friends' engagement or their wedding that they're planning to have at the end of the week. So they're like, yeah, let's just keep pretending that we're in a relationship together. But it was just revealed to us that the friends knew all along that they were broken up and they plotted to get them both on the friends vacation because Wynn apparently wasn't going to go in the first place in order to get them back together. First of all, friends, I feel like you're overstepping a line. Like if your friends are getting a divorce or they're breaking up or what have you, like that, it's not your place to like step in. Like you are not the expert in their relationship. So like if these were my friends and my friends that I've known for quite a while are breaking up, I'd be like, that's sad, but also it's none of my business. Stay out of other people's business, friends. That's what really got me irate. That is what really triggered me. I just need Harriet and Wynn to just talk to each other. Just sit sit down, go to therapy. Win should have went to therapy when his dad died and when his mom got diagnosed with Parkinson. Like, that would have helped him a lot. Harriet is struggling with her own childhood trauma. Like, you should go to therapy. Like, you're a doctor, you know better. And then the other thing that's pissing me off about this book right now is that Win, he's probably not the most educated. Win got like a business degree, but like really, he wasn't academically inclined, let's just say. And there's nothing wrong with that, okay? But the entire time when they were living in Los Angeles together, he was like apprenticing for this like furniture place, but he also was like learning to make high-end furniture on the side. But he was like, oh, I don't want to tell Harriet about it because if it fails, then I'll be a failure and I don't want to like tell her about it. But like, you're keeping a secret from the most important person in your life. Like, the communication is failing on multiple levels here. So I'm mad at it. And I only have like that much left to read, this tiny chunk right here. So I'm gonna finish it tonight and then I'll give you an update tomorrow morning because I feel like I'm far too late in this to DNF. I'm mad that I spent money on this. Emily Henry, this is a rare misstep for you. What happened? Were you in a bad mood when you wrote this? Were you going through something? Like, obviously you are. I sympathize and I feel bad for you. But this is not your finest work. Every single time I sit down to make a video, I'm like, yes, I want to like something. I want to read something that I end up giving 5 stars or 4 stars. I'm gonna love it. And it's gonna end up on my favorites of the year. But no, this right now is turning into a 1-star book. And I can't believe I'm saying that. But I'm gonna finish it and I will talk to you guys and give you a final update tomorrow morning. Good morning, guys. I have finished Happy Place and I need to politely ask Miss Emily Henry, what the fuck were you thinking when you wrote this book? I'm gonna give Happy Place 1 star. And I had not given many books this year a 1-star rating. I know I had complained a ton last night when I gave you an update on this book, but I just need to complain some more because the ending was not it. Again, I will be discussing spoilers. So apparently Harriet, who is studying to be a surgeon and is like doing her residency, she gives up that life path to follow Win on his like furniture store ranch company thing that he's building out. And I just don't like when women give up their careers for a man. I understand that Win was not exactly thriving in Los Angeles or in California, wherever they were, for Harriet's career, but I feel like you could have come to a middle ground and maybe she could have become like a doctor or a nurse in Montana where his like furniture business is at, because I'm very much a career-oriented person and I would not give up my career for any man. So that's what really irked me. Even her parents were like, is this a good idea? Like, you work so hard. She's like, well, I'm not really happy with this career, and she just like values that relationship, and I don't know, I didn't like it. And this book has made me come to realize that I don't think I like second chance romance, because second chance already implies that the relationship wasn't working and that you guys broke up or you separated in some way, and there must have been a valid reason for doing that. So therefore, why do you think giving this person a second chance would now like miraculously make it work? You should just stay broken up. That's what I wanted. I wanted Win and Harriet to break up and stay broken up. There are other fish in the sea for the both of you. You guys could have thrived on your own. I just did not like this book. And serious question, is it okay to burn books? Because that's what I would like to do to this book. But this book was not a happy place for me. This book is trash. So we're just gonna move on to our next book. I'm more than 2/3 of the way through this book, and this is, I feel like, a return to form for Deanna Raybourn. What the previous book was missing, it was missing a good mystery. The plot in that book, we already know who did it. It was resolving a plot line that was left over in the first book. So like the fifth book is like, we already know who did it, we already know where this is going, how this is probably gonna end. And so that was what I didn't like about that book. But this one, this is a brand new mystery. The other thing that I didn't like about A Murderous Relation is that we expected Stoker and Veronica to really come together as a couple, but that didn't happen. They just spent most of the fifth book having this miscommunication that I felt was just so not them, and just how they are with each other. They're both like very blunt people, and I just felt like just out of form from them. But this book has a really great mystery involved, and we're seeing a lot of really cutesy moment between Veronica and Stoker. So the mystery in this book, there is a very famous alpine climber from this made-up country. I think it's called Alpenders or something like that. I don't remember. She dies, and Veronica and Stoker Stoker are putting together like memorabilia for like their museum at this women's only kind of club. But Stoker immediately noticed that there's something wrong with the rope that she used while in that climb. It looks like the rope was cut and it was more like a murder than an accident. So that's kind of why the story takes off from there. We're getting involved in this made-up countries, their royalty, and there's a missing princess, and Veronica has to go undercover. We're just getting a fresh new mystery in this book. And I feel like with the Veronica Speedwell series, I could sometimes like follow along with the mystery, and that's what makes it exciting for me, is that I could kind of like guess like who did it. And this one's like very much giving me that. But the other thing this book is giving me is so much cute Veronica and Stoker relationship. Like they gently kiss each other, they gently like move towards each other. There is a sex scene, and I will say about Deanna Raybourn is that she keeps it classy. It's more like a fade to black, but the way that she's writing it, like Veronica is writing it in her perspective, and she's like, you don't need to know the details of what we just did there, and that's fine. I just want to know that they're fucking and they're enjoying their relationship with each other. And there is a declaration of love that Stoker gives towards Veronica in this book, and it's a true return to form. It feels like a 5-star for me right now, but we have to see about that ending. I think I want to say like a little over 100 pages left, and I'm probably going to be able to finish it today. It is 9 a.m. in the morning on Memorial Day, so I think I'm going to read a little bit of this. I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish it because I want to leave the house like around 11-ish so that I can go to Half Price Books. There is a Memorial Day sale. I think everything's 20% off, and I want to take advantage of that sale and see if there's anything I might find there. And I also want to get some sushi today, but I want to finish this today, which I think I'll be able to do. So I'll check up with you guys once I am done with this book. Guys, checking with you a lot later because I went to Half Price Books. The selection there wasn't all that great. I think because I got there on the last day of sales, it wasn't good. So I did come home with 4 books. We'll save those for a future book haul. But I finished An Unexpected Peril, and it is gonna have to be 5 stars. I love this one. This book gave me everything that A Murderous Relation didn't give me. What I just loved about this book is that they had no shame in showing any kind of like public affection toward each other, or not public affection, but like showing affection toward each other. Veronica kept asking for declarations of love from Stoker, and he kept quoting John Keats, which I thought was just so adorable. I do want to reread this one day because the one thing I didn't fully like wrap my head around with this book is the mystery, and that's my fault because I wasn't entirely 100% paying attention to like when like plot was revealed or when new characters were introduced. So one day I like actually do want to reread the entire series and annotate it. I still do think that the mystery is pretty good, and 5 stars for just the relationship between Veronica and Stoker. I love that Deanna Raybourn listened to the fans and fixed what was wrong in the previous book and put it into this book. Time to wrap up this video for you guys. I read 5 books for this challenge, which is way more than I thought I was going to need to. I was really relying upon the 5th Veronica Speedwell book to carry me through and just end this video, but that was not the case, unfortunately. So the first book I read was That Time I Got Drunk and Saved the Demon, and this one I gave 2 stars. I would consider continuing on with the series because I think the fault of this first one is because it was just a little too silly goofy, and I listened to the audiobook, which I feel like did not take itself seriously at all. I mean, it didn't need to, but I think it was just narrated poorly. So if I'm going to continue on with the series, then I am going to physically read them. This is a book that I have also already sold on my Pango shop. The link for my Pango shop is down below if you want to check out the other books that I'm selling. The next book I read was Master of Crows, which I gave 3 stars. I just didn't connect this one, mainly because our female lead character, I don't remember what her name is, she was just very meek and she lacked agency, and that is just something that I don't like and I don't vibe with. Also, I think the story got overwhelmed by the fantasy portion of it, and I think also just the fantasy portion I just could not follow along with. I wish it had that perfect balance between fantasy and romance like Entreat Me did, but I would consider reading more of Grace Draven. I just think this was just a miss for me. But this is a book that I will be keeping because I own the special edition copy of it, and so you won't be finding that one on my Pango shop. And then the next book I read was A Murderous Relation, which is the 5th book in the Veronica Speedwell series. And this one, unfortunately, hurt me. It hurt me in my soul. It hurt me in my core. I just don't think that Deanna Raybourn needed to go back and resolve a plot line that was left open from book 1 and bring it into book 5. I gave it 4 stars and I'm gonna stick by that. Inside, it's really a 3-star book, but we can't do that to Miss Deanna Raybourn. And then the next book I read was Happy Place, which I gave a whopping 1 star. And I have not been giving a lot of 1-star book ratings out this year, but this book offended me. It grated on my nerves. I think that Harriet and Wynne are both losers. I simply wanted them to break up. Like, why are you two together? I just cannot relate to characters that don't say what they mean. I am just a very open, honest, blunt person. And I know my friends tell me I might just be a little bit too blunt for them, but the fact that they just were unable to communicate with each other drove me nuts. And then the friends in this book were so awful. The friends overstepped their bounds. I wanted Wynne and Harriet to break up, and I wanted the friends to just go away altogether. But I'm giving Miss Emily Henry one more chance because I have a funny story right here. And I want to read that soon, and this is going to be her time to redeem herself. And then the last book I read, my 5-star book, was An Unexpected Peril, which is the 6th book in the Veronica Speedwell series. And this was a Hail Mary pass. I wanted to be done with this vlog at this point, and I knew if anyone could do it for me, it was going to be Deanna Raybourn. I just had to put a past behind me, a murderous relation, and pretend it never existed. And An Unexpected Peril gave me everything that I wanted and more. It was a great mystery. The relationship between Veronica and Stoker finally got to where I wanted it to be. I just love that Stoker was quoting John Keats to her throughout the entire novel. He was declaring his love for her. That is what I truly wanted. I just loved their love for each other. Maybe the next video I upload would be like a lifestyle vlog, taking you along in my day, because after reading 5 books for 1 video, I'm exhausted. Anyways, that is all that I have for you guys today. Please subscribe, please give this video a like, please comment, and my links for my Instagram, Goodreads, and Pango Shop are down below for you if you want to check those out. And I will see you guys in another video next week. Bye!